Mr. Nameco right
What up?
here. I am Dustin.
Not football.
A crazy week one is in the books. I feel like we're left with more questions than answers. It was
David freaking Johnson. I hate you.
Big injury there.
God, it was such a good team.
I avoided that one luckily. But week two rankings, before we get into it though, Mr. Nameco. I know
It was so good.
He's got him in the league we care about the most.
I know. Oh, it was such a good keeper auction league. $6 only. MyBookie.ag. That does make me happy because whenever you play, you win, you get paid. So go ahead, look at the link in the description. Use the promo code SMACK. You get a deposit bonus. And like I said, we look at MyBookie.ag for over-unders because that does play a lot into fantasy for us, especially with defensive matchups. So keep that in mind as well. So at least go on, peruse that, and maybe if you want to join up, you can do that too.
Check them out. So let's talk about those quarterbacks. Lots of disappointing quarterbacks last week, but also
who didn't have Smith and Goff and it was
Stafford?
ridiculous.
It was crazy. But one of the guys that did okay, but not amazing, Russell Wilson. We definitely were hoping for more from him week one with him being healthy, but nice matchup at home going up against San Francisco. You got to think Russell Wilson's in a prime spot for a nice bounce back, so don't do anything crazy and go start Bradford over Wilson. Like, keep Wilson in there. We like him this week.
All right, for my quarterback, I'm going to be talking about Matt Stafford. And, he got a lot of flack for the contract, and it was even kind of hilarious that halfway through the game, you already heard people like grumbling about it. And then what did he do? What Matt Stafford always does. He came back in the fourth quarter, played amazing. And the reason I like Stafford, and this week it's a tough matchup with the Giants, I totally get it, but the reason I like him is he's going to throw the ball a ton. Their running game is atrocious, it's been atrocious, and he just throws the ball a lot, and I think they're going to be down early, so I think they're going to be some prevent D. I think it's safe. He's going to have good yardage totals and a couple touchdowns thrown in.
All right, before we get into running backs, real quick on comments on the videos, we're not answering nearly as many in the forums anymore. We're answering them in the comments of the video, and on Sunday mornings, Brett and I both are going to try to be in there between 11 and 1.
Now when you did it, when I did it, now it looks dorky.
Between 11 and 1, answering questions. In this video, the week 2 rankings video, we're going to answer them mostly in the rankings videos. We'll try to get into the other videos as well.
And if you're an old forum guy, please note, like, hey, how am I blanking all these forums? I'm bigger boat.
There you go.
And then I'll be all excited. I'll be like, bigger boat, you're the man.
So let's talk about those. Let's talk about those running backs. Before we talk about them, though, I'm going to talk about Kareem Hunt and the debacle of what happened last week.
Kareem Hunt, Dustin?
The comments were brutal, and I watched it back. I kind of deserved it, but I need to at least have a chance to defend myself here because I didn't say it how I wanted to say it, and that was really the only thing I regret. I'm not going against anything that I said. I still think, he's the 5th best running back in terms of overall talent. I have him just in front of Kamara in terms of rookies. He was the 6th rookie in the real NFL draft, so I'm not the only one that feels that way. But you can debate me on that if you want. But I also, the other big thing that I was getting a lot of flack for was I don't think he should be drafted as an RB1, and I still think that too. So I'm not going against anything that I said. But I really liked Kareem Hunt coming into the year, and that's what I made it sound like I didn't like Kareem Hunt. Go back, look in our July late round sleepers. We had Kareem Hunt in there, and we like Kareem Hunt.
Well,
I just don't like him as the RB1.
Dustin was a Kareem Hunt fan in round 3 after the news with Ware. He just said, I don't like him as an early second. And granted, he blew up and he looks great. If you redraft today, sure, he'll go high. He'll probably be a first rounder. But let's see what he does against this Philadelphia defense. It's a tougher front. I mean, he looked good, but
the one reason I didn't like, so rookie running backs as an RB1, there needs to be no question marks in terms of when they make mistakes. And all rookies make mistakes. But I look at Elliott last year. He could have fumbled his first 3 carries, and the Cowboys would have stayed with it. But Hunt, we don't know that with him. That's the uncertainty. That was the uncertainty of me not putting him in the RB1 discussion.
But Dustin, he fumbled and he went right back in.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen, but I guarantee you every single Hunt owner was pooping their pants a little bit after he fumbled, just praying for
anyone that owned Hunt and benched him because it was the Patriots when he did that fumble was like, I'm a genius.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the night, they're like, I'm the dumbest human
So
ever.
the only reason I want to spend this time talking about this now
way
is
too long.
because I like Hunt, and I don't want a comment every time he does something well for the whole year, because I liked him as an RB2.
Dusty just wants to be able to draft him in leagues next year and trade for him.
This week,
That's honestly ridiculous.
going against Philly, he's going to have a harder time finding space, but we got him at number 9. If he's on your team, you're starting him this week.
Oh my goodness, Dustin. All right, Jordan Howard, number 14, popped up on the injury report. I think that's interesting. I think Cohen's interesting. That makes it a little bit nervous, right? If you took Jordan Howard at the start of the second round, another guy that we were nervous about, or end of the first even, Cohen is a little bit scary because he looked really explosive. However, he's at number 14, playing Tampa Bay. You know, if you draft him that early, you gotta start him is the way I look at it, and we'll see if Cohen gets as many snaps, because it was really the snaps, not the receptions, I was most worried about. But still, Howard, he's gonna be a volume guy, and he's gonna get the touches, and he's gonna get the short yardage. Let's
move into the next group at number 25, Mr. Thomas Rawls. Kind of frustrating for his owners last week. All the reports, he's practicing, and then he doesn't play. So it's a mess out there. Lacey looks terrible though. Carson is certainly interesting, but it does look like Rawls is going to get a shot here to show us what he can do, show us if he can be the starter. So, you know, we got him at 25 with a decent matchup against San Francisco. So not a terrible play this week.
Right below him, we got Williams for Arizona, who's starting.
Salt in the wind.
Because Dustin's making me talk about him. He's like, why aren't you going to talk about your boy Williams?
That's where all the questions are.
All right, so he's ranked number 26. He is going to be known as a starter. I think it's a terrible situation because they re-signed Chris Johnson. So Chris Johnson's going to be there. They're already saying Ellington's going to get third down work. So it's going to be a nightmare. The team didn't look that good in their first game anyway. So he's a flex option. He does not replace David Johnson. That's what we said earlier in the year. A guy like a DeMarco Murray and a Henry is a true handcuff, where David Johnson didn't necessarily have a true handcuff, and that's what's so tough about this injury and why it's awful.
Before we get into receivers, our FanDuel League, click on the link in the description. It's a Beat the Experts League. You can win a sweet shirt that says I beat the experts at Fantasy Smack Talk. Quick shout out to Matty Ice. 2241. He won week 1. He's going to get a sweet shirt from our friends.
But I got a bone to pick with everybody. I was actually very sad on Sunday, and I shouldn't be sad on Sunday because that's like the favorite day of the year other than draft day. And we only need 75 people. Please, if you're watching this, click on the link, play the game. You're going to win money and a t-shirt. And it's not only the top person wins. Yeah, FanDuel's all mad at us. So to open up to the other schmucks in the public. So get an account. You know,
they're not that mad.
And I don't know. Dustin talked to him. That's what he told me because I was on the picks and it didn't work. So help us out, please. Just get in there. It's fun.
And our friends over at Sneaky's Tees, they print them for us. And click on the link in the description for them.
If you win, not only will we give you a shout out, we will say whatever you want. Talk smack to your league as well. That's a fun little bonus.
Talk some smack. Let's take a look at those wide receivers. I'm talking about Brandon Cooks. Another homecoming. He's going up against New Orleans. It should be fun to see what happens here. You know he's going to be, I think the players tried just a tiny bit harder. It didn't really work for Peterson in week 1 and going up against his old team.
He was
but the touches he did get, he didn't do much with. But Cooks, that should be a high-scoring game. You know, he kind of let down week 1. He had a lot of targets, though, and he drew some pass interference calls, but unfortunately, you don't get points for that in fantasy, but we like him for a rebound week 2.
Number 20, I'm going to talk about Dez Bryant, and Dustin can attest, I've always been, for whatever reason, a big Dez Bryant fan. I just love the guy. And I heard all coming into this and looking at the schedule, people were like, oh, he's got a murderer's row. It's a really tough schedule for him. And you saw what happened week 1 against the Giants, got shut down again. And now he plays Denver in the secondary, which that is also a really tough matchup for him. Sure, he can score a touchdown any given week, but he's at number 20 for a reason. He's a wide receiver too. It's just a tough run for him. So if you have Dez, note that going forward.
Let's move into the next group. I'm talking about Kelvin Benjamin. It wasn't pretty, really, for Carolina's offense week 1, but I was watching Cam throw the ball, and it really looks like he's still knocking off some dust. So I'm expecting him to be looking a little bit better week 2. And just, you know, we ranked Kelvin here. Just don't forget about him. You know, we do think he can still have, a decent game. It's just, I think a lot of times, a stud or a good player will have a bad week 1 and people just instantly put him on their bench. But, we still like his upside this week. So don't move him there just yet.
All right, down at the bottom here, I'm going to talk about Cooper Kupp. And for all the flack that Dustin did get about Hunt, which is ridiculous, and me more than any other people loves to give this guy hell.
He
but
does.
Cooper Kupp, man, Dustin was on him early. Go back, check out the waiver wire show, because everybody's waiver wire show did fantastic for week 1. But Cooper Kupp was his guy, and he's slowly, I'm going to steal him. So by like week 6, he's going to be my guy. But I love the targets. Sean McVay is the real deal. You've always heard how he's a fantastic offensive mind for a head coach. And Goff looked great. Kupp just looks like he's going to be Goff's best friend. I can see 7 to 8 targets again out of him. I love some targets. I think he could be, right now we have him as, a really low-end wide receiver 3. He looks like he has the makings of a high-end 3, low-end 2.
I love me some Cooper Kupp.
He's interesting.
Let's move to tight end. I didn't do this on purpose, but I'm talking about another Seattle guy, Jimmy Graham. It's the same deal. Nice matchup against San Francisco. I really like his chances for a touchdown this week. I know it wasn't the best week 1, and they're asking him to block a lot, but I really do like him this week. I think he's a good chance, like I said, a good chance for the end zone.
Number 12, we got Austin Hooper, and I want buyer beware.
Hooper.
Hanging with my man, he is so Hooper.
We know it's Cooper, but it works with Hooper too.
I wanted to see if they knew that. Who watched the show? Comment below if you ever watched the show. And what was the name of the little boy neighbor? I totally forget. All right, Austin Hooper. He had 2 big catches. You saw him romp. Well, not romp, but slowly try to get down the field for the touchdown. But just note, he only had 2 targets, so he is not automatically a tight end 1 because of that monster game. 2 targets. That makes me nervous. Obviously, it's a good offense, so he's a 12 for a reason. 2 targets. Don't get crazy.
Yeah.
I want to see it for another couple weeks.
Yeah, before you get crazy. So let's move to those defenses. And like we've talked about before, we like to look at over-unders. We like to check out mybookie.ag. I'm going to talk about Oakland at number 3 at home against the Jets. Oakland looked good last week against Tennessee. The over-under on this one's 43.5. But the spread is -14 for the Raiders, so they're not giving the Jets much love. And they really shouldn't, because the Jets just really lack weapons, and I think Oakland's going to give them a hard time.
I'm just feeling Jets, Browns, stream that D. Whoever's playing every single week this year. All right, at number 10, I'm talking about the Rams going up against the Washington Redskins. So again, Sean McVay used to be on the Redskins coaching staff, so obviously he knows Cousins very well. So it'll be interesting to see how they scheme. Now the over-under is 46, so I'd normally like to say a little bit lower, but due to the fact you have Goff on one side, you have a head coach that knows Cousins very well on the other, I could see some interceptions. Could there be some pick sixes in this game, turnovers? And I think the Rams defense is better than the Redskins, top to bottom. So I could see some, I think there's some, this is a turnover, give it a try play.
Rams looked great last week.
No, they did.
They carried me in a couple leagues. So that's our week 2 rankings. Again, post questions in this video. We're going to be answering them in this video as much as we can. And we will be in there
Give it to me.
Sunday morning.
Ooh, boom!
He's getting better, folks.